Jersey Devil Coaster is Six Flags Great Adventures RMC Raptor roller coaster that opened in 2021. When I first rode this, I was absolutely blown away by it. I rode it opening weekend and it was in my top 3 at first. However, over time, I rode plenty more coasters, so this ride did drop. However, then I went back to Great Adventure and re-rode this ride, and I could say my opinion on this ride has drastically changed. Although I still think this ride is amazing and I really do like it, my opinion is definitely way different on it now. These are my updated thoughts on Jersey Devil Coaster. So let's recap real quick. I rode Jersey Devil on its opening weekend in 2021. I rode it 2 times that day, one time in row 11 and one time in row 4, and I was blown away both times. I thought the airtime moments were extremely strong, and the ride was really forceful, I thought. However, I went back in September, and my first ride on it that day, honestly, was a really big disappointment. The ride barely had any airtime that morning, and the hang time and forces were pretty weak. I did ride it later that day and liked it a lot more, as it did give great airtime later that day, but I just don't know why this ride was not giving as good airtime earlier in the day. And then I rode it Holiday in the Park. When the ride was all warmed up that day, it was open for a while before I went, because I went later that day. I went on it and I was really disappointed. The airtime felt way weaker than I remembered. The drop is always going to be very strong. That moment is always pure ejector in the back row. The first Camelback, however, I remember it being ejector when I first rode it. It was flow ejector or even floater the last 3 times I rode it. Now the inversions give great hang time, like that 0G stall has great hang time, but the 0G roll, it's a okay element, but it's kind of just there. I feel like the drop off to turnaround in the back row is really good, but in any other row, it's not that great. Jersey Devil Coaster is in my top 25 still. It's not in my top 20. I did drop it a bit, actually. And as I said, I have rode a bunch of coasters since I rode Jersey Devil. So yeah, I dropped because of that, but it also dropped because the rides disappointed me, my last rides on it. Overall, I really still love this ride. It's a great ride with still some really good airtime moments. The drop in the back row is insane. The first Camelback can give really good airtime sometimes. The drop off the mid-course in the back row is great. The speed hill is pretty good. The twisted airtime hills, though, those are pointless. I don't understand why. Those elements just don't really do anything. The 0G stall is a great inversion, one of my favorite inversions. The 0G roll is solid. But one thing I want to talk about with this ride that also made me drop it a bit. This ride is rough for some reason. The last time I rode it, this ride just felt really bumpy. Every single time it switched to a new track segment, you just feel the train kind of shake. Now, it's not a bad type of roughness, but it's kind of an annoying type of roughness. But here's the thing about this ride. The first half on Jersey Devil Coaster is amazing, and that's what puts it in my top 25. If it weren't for the first half, Jersey Devil probably wouldn't even be in my top 30. But the first half on this ride is what makes up for all of the second half. That drop, as I said, is great. The dive loop is great too. The first Camelback gives really good airtime as long as you ride it later in the day. If you ride it in the morning, the Camelback's not going to do much. The 0G stall is great. The drop off, the turnaround in back row is great. 0G roll is solid. The mid-course, that's when the momentum dies down. So what do I think of this ride now? Although it did drop in my rankings, from being like in my top 5 when I first rode it to now not even being top 20, and I dropped it below some coasters I rode before Jersey Devil too. This is the weakest RMC I have ridden now, by a lot, actually. This is for sure the weakest RMC I've ridden. I still love the ride though. Top 25 at the moment for me. It's going to drop more because I am riding a bunch new coasters this year. But hopefully it runs better when I ride it next time. As I said, Jersey Devil is still an amazing coaster, but my last rides on it just to let me down a little bit, and that's why my thoughts have kind of changed on it. Jersey Devil Coaster currently ranks number 21 on my rankings out of my 213 coaster credits. So as you see, it definitely is still a ride that I really, really like. Anyways, those are my updated thoughts on Jersey Devil Coaster. Tell me what you think of Jersey Devil Coaster, and if your opinion has changed on it at all. If you rode it opening weekend or if you rode it later in the year. So yeah, keep coasting on my coaster demons. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. and peace out.